make.
Yeah, I think this is, I think it's a poorly crafted bill to begin with. And I think this is, I agree with Mr. Crow, this is exactly the wrong way to proceed. But let me ask either of you, I mean, what did the witnesses say during the hearing on this bill? Did we hear from both sides on, was there a hearing on this bill or a markup or?
I'm not on the committee.
You're not on the committee, but you're testifying on the bill?
From my experience on active duty, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well,
No,
so no, you can't tell me whether or not there was a hearing on this bill?
Yeah, I can tell you, there was no hearing on this bill. This has been pushed through without proper process, without a proper full engagement, and I think the results reflect that. It is half-baked in a very dangerous effort.
I mean, I don't know whether my Republican friends no longer believe in the committee process, but I mean, we have committees that are supposed to do hearings where people can bring witnesses and you can hear from all sides, and then if there's problems with the bill, you can make amendments and you can mark it up, and then we can, address some of the issues that way, and there was no process at all. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, you are correct.
This is the first time that it's going to be talked about in a hearing setting before the Rules Committee. And I assume, Mr. Self, you don't believe in the ICC at all?
what I'm asking is that we make sure the ICC stays in its proper role as defined by the member nations. And I will tell you,
So do you
back to
believe
your
you believe
previous
it's
question.
do you believe so? Are you against the ICC pursuing the case against Hamas?
What I have said is we need to make sure the ICC stays in its lane, which is defined by its member nations, and it says that you cannot go after a nation except if the events occur on its property. Palestine is not a nation.
So they should not go after Hamas under your definition?
No, absolutely
Okay.
not. No,
I
the
disagree with you.
ICC.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I will tell you, Secretary Blinken has called the ICC took a profoundly wrong-headed decision on these arrest warrants. I don't understand why. I came in here expecting Democrats to support this
I
bill.
just fundamentally disagree with you. I think Hamas should be held accountable, and I think the crimes that are happening in Gaza right now, those who are responsible should be held accountable too. This is about victims, not about whether your ally is being questioned or whether your adversary is being questioned. This is about the victims in Israel, the victims on October 7th, and the victims in Gaza. Mr. Crow.
Yeah, Ranking Member, I think it's really important to say, you heard several folks mentioned that they don't believe in subjecting non-parties to jurisdiction of the court, and yet Mr. Self, Chairman Burgess, and almost every member of this committee has actually signed on to, that is correct, Mr. Massey is not, he's one of the few who has not, as a matter of fact, but almost everybody else here has signed on to bills and efforts that would promote the court's jurisdiction over non-parties, in this case, Russia. There's plenty of precedents by folks in this room supporting the jurisdiction of the ICC over a non-party in the case of Russia, Ukraine, and other instances.
Yeah.
And again, I say, Ranking Member, Israel is different. It is a major non-NATO ally. Russia is not.
So,
And I leave it at that.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. So is Pakistan and Qatar, by the way. But the bottom line is that, I'm saying, if somebody's watching this, I'm sure they're amazed at what appears to be this incredible hypocrisy and these double standards that my friends on the other side of the aisle seem to be endorsing. And I have to tell you, I mean, I think human rights ought to be a centerpiece of what this country is all about. And the idea that you're bringing this resolution that is going to sanction. By the way, am I correct too? There's a process that unfolds, right? I mean, so these arrest warrants that have been requested have not been issued. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Right. There's another level here that has to be reached, and that requires investigations, and it requires additional.
Ranking
Yeah,
member,
yeah.
it will go quickly.
You are?
We're talking about a week. We're talking about 2 weeks. That's why this bill has been brought to the floor so quickly, because
so
we're
that-
talking about
that's-
these decisions
so
will
that-
be made.
we
This
don't-
is
we
not
don't-
congressional investigations of a year. This is week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. This is very fast.
And where did you get that date from, that these will be decided on? Where did the ICC tell you that in 2 weeks they're going to have a decision, or 3 weeks?
As far as I know, it's common knowledge, because I've seen it several places.
No, these processes normally do not go
Right,
that fast. They usually take a long time. In fact, there have been investigations involving issues in the West Bank and in Gaza for many years
Right.
that have not matured yet. And as you mentioned, Ranking Member, in this instance, what happens is the ICC does not have the authority
Correct.
to try or to conduct investigations in absentia. So the issuing of the arrest warrants is the next step in the investigative process.
But
And-
they,
and-
I
and
think
where's
they've
the-
announced,
where's the-
Ranking
where is
Member,
the- where
that
is
it's
the
gonna go
common knowledge
fast.
coming from? I don't know, can you point, rather than saying common knowledge, can you point to us a citation from the ICC that says that in 2 weeks or 3 weeks?
I believe there are statements from the ICC that they're going to
Can you
take to
produce
this
any of them for us?
three-member court.
Can you produce
will
any?
then actually, well, I can. I'll
Oh,
get
you
back
know,
to
it would be,
you, Ranking Member.
and that's one of the reasons why a hearing might have been a good thing to do. Because rather than people just saying things and saying, oh, it's common knowledge, that maybe if you had a hearing, you could actually get answers to these questions, and I think we would maybe have different conclusions.
Seeing the media is controlled by the other side, I think common knowledge would be something
All right,
we
well,
would
I think
probably
now we're
hang
going
our hat
down,
on.
we're going down a conspiracy, foxhole here that doesn't, I mean, whatever. You know what? The bottom line is, this is a lousy way to legislate, and quite frankly, it's shameful that we are here dealing with this. This is a serious matter, and we should be focused on how do you end the violence, and how do you protect the victims, and how do you prevent from being further victims. And it seems that that's not what you're concerned about, and I'm not interested in, quite frankly, conspiracy theories and all that other stuff. With that, I would yield back.
Chair, thanks the gentleman. Gentleman yields back. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Kentucky.